Welcome to the wonderful Windy City, where we've got some exciting joint practices ready for you, Dolphin fans. I know you're probably anticipating a ton of information from the joint practices that happen on Friday against the Chicago Bears. I will be there, and so will this gentleman who might look familiar to you, Alain Poupart from Dolphins, SI Dolphins.
Dolphins on SI.
Dolphins on SI. And he's got a podcast as well. Alan, would you like to tell the people what the podcast name is?
You may be familiar with it, Omar. It's the All Dolphins podcast.
All Dolphins podcast. He's also part of the Dolphins Collective, which I happen to be part of as well. Where we as for those who know, we generally fight. And today, I don't think there's going to be any difference, even though today's practice doesn't feature much to fight about.
No. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. See, I'm gonna start right now. Yes, there's plenty to fight about.
It was primarily a walkthrough practice, run the plays of things that we're going to use against the Chicago Bears. As most of us know, these joint practices have become far more important than the exhibition season, just because they're controlled environments where you could run a Tyreek Hill against a Jalen Johnson and not have to really worry about injury. Now, on that note, I will also point out that Tyreek Hill seems to be nursing an injury, and I don't think that you're going to be running Tyreek Hill during these practices. I would be shocked if he does anything other than an individual drill during these practices. It looks like Tyreek is about to be put on ice, which probably is a little concerning, or no concern from your part, Poupart.
Man, put on ice. You ready to put him on ice?
He's not playing in the final exhibition game, so that means he either works this week or he works next week.
Yeah, maybe next week. Because when you were saying he was ready to be put on I, I'm like, is he gonna say IR?
No.
I know. But it's a good thing you said ice, not IR. Yeah, and they should operate with caution, because we cannot stress enough the importance of Tyreek Hill to make the Miami Dolphins offense the best it can be. He's the one who takes it to a whole other level.
That's true. Now, here's one thing that I don't know if you're a little bit concerned about it as I'm concerned about it. Tyreek and Tua Tagovailoa, they don't exactly look like they're on the same chemistry page, wavelength as they have been in the past. Now, in fairness, Tyreek has not participated in all of the offseason program because he couldn't catch balls while he had the wrist surgery. But earlier this week, when they missed on 2 deep passes, before we saw Tyreek basically shut it down for that day in practice, that wasn't concerning to you?
No, this is going to make you happy, Omar. I think we're about to have our first fight. Was it a matter of chemistry that they misconnected, or were they just 2 bad passes?
Wow.
Where's the lie? Where is the lie?
Okay, an overthrow and an underthrow. But that didn't look bad when he threw it to Malik Washington.
Yeah, because he doesn't run as fast. So trying to find the exact precision on where to throw it's a lot easier.
But that's my point. Him and Tyreek, I don't know if I'm making it up, even though maybe it's in my head. I listened to Mike McDaniel's interview with Rich Eisen today. Yeah. I haven't heard the whole thing, but you and I both speak Mike McDaniel.
Yes, we do.
And that was pretty concerning for me, because it was an admission and acknowledgement that, yeah, these guys have issues, and they still have issues, and Tua's trying to exert himself as a leader, and Tyreek is a very immature person, and it's hard for Tua to lead Tyreek.
And I'm sorry. Did you say hard? That's not
nearly impossible. Nearly impossible.
That's impossible.
And at the very end of it, the sentiment that I got is, yeah, this ain't over, because at any point Tyreek can revert to being Tyreek. Did you get the same thing that I got from that?
I didn't. I haven't heard the Rich Eisen interview, but yeah, and Tyreek is trying to say all the right things, but again, like you said, Tyreek is Tyreek, and it's just a matter of, it can happen at any time. Another concern that I have, to me, I think a little bit more tangible, is Tyreek didn't just have the wrist injury last year. He also had like leg and foot injuries also. And then again, now we're dealing with, because he was getting worked on by trainers at some points during practice, and it looked like it's legs. And he's 31 years old. And generally speaking, the health of a wide receiver getting to that age doesn't go uphill, it goes downhill. So to me, it's concerning that
we're battling.
Yeah, we got something coming up.
We don't know what it is. We
don't speculate here. No, we don't
speculate.
Pow.
Do you think we in the media are making too much about the Tyreek Hill Tua Tagovailoa relationship? Yeah.
Again, if Tyreek becomes fully healthy, has no health issues,
and makes plays, everything's good in the hood.
Yeah, I think when they're not playing football and outside of the practice field, yeah, I don't think Tua is necessarily a big fan of Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek is kind of a loose cannon, whatever term you want to use, but maybe a hair immature, whatever term you want to use.
Predictable.
Yeah, a hair. But if he balls out, I think they can forget that. I mean, he's not the first player who's a little bit difficult off the field.
They're usually wide receivers.
Yeah. Yes, they are. And if they're not, I think a lot of times maybe cornerbacks also can be difficult. Not as much as wide receivers, I agree.
Not as much as wide receiver. You know, Jason Cole once told me, he explained it to me. For those who don't know Jason Cole, he's a former Miami Herald and Miami Dolphins longtime beat writer. One of my first mentors in the business. And I always asked him, why do wide receivers act like that? And he said, think about it. They spend their whole lives going, look at me, I'm open, look at me. Hey, I'm over here. Yeah, did you see me? I was open. No, but you didn't throw the ball to me. It's an attention-seeking position where they have to gain your attention. And so that's why they are generally like that. Let's move on from Tyreek. Who do you potentially think could step up in his absence?
Nobody to even remotely close to that degree.
No.
But I mean,
there's some receivers going to get a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, but I think the Dolphins have a lot of competent wide receivers. I think there's a pretty big gulf from Jaylen Waddle to the next guy. And we spoke to D. Eskridge after practice today, and he's one of the guys right now who's probably has looked as good as anybody outside of those two in terms of what he's done. But the resume is not there. Nick Westbrook-Akine had 9 touchdowns last year, but that was kind of an outlier. And I know you haven't necessarily been a fan of his work in training camp. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think I just did. Malik Washington's a nice player, but are we ready to say he can elevate to that level? I don't know. That's to be determined. But I think there's a gigantic gulf after Tyreek and Waddle, and that hasn't changed in the 3 years they've been together.
Now, do you think that this could potentially impact Tua in his performance in these joint practices, and if he plays in the exhibition game, which history says he will play a series?
Not Sunday. He'll probably play game 2 against the Lions, I would imagine. That's what he did last year. He didn't play the first game, played the second. No, I don't think it's going to impact Tua in terms of being able to be efficient. He can be efficient. There's going to be an awful lot of short passes. And yes, check downs.
They happen.
Yeah. And then him and Waddle are going to work that little slant over the middle that they're automatic on, that they have been automatic on throughout training camp. But I don't know that you're going to say anything over the top.
Well, but he's developing a little bit of chemistry with Malik Washington. It'll be interesting to see. I think 2 of his better passes since OTAs have been to Malik Washington this year. There was a deep pass during mini camp. Oh yeah, and then
I'm not arguing with you. Trust
that
me.
touchdown pass, 52-yard touchdown pass where he connected to Malik. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. Tuesday. Could Malik potentially step up his game, and how would you evaluate his training camp so far?
Very, very quiet at the beginning. In fact, I had
better than last year, though.
Was it? I don't remember.
Oh, he sucked last year.
I don't remember last year. I remember. I have a hard time remembering yesterday. You're asking me to remember last year. He sucked last year.
Oh yeah, he sucked last year during training camp. And then he heated up, and I think he had like a good week against Tampa. I didn't think he was going to make the 53-man roster. He did on Grayson Murphy. And then he eventually unseated because let's be real, Chris Greer does not cut draft picks.
Cut Ryan Hayes. He cut Ryan Hayes and Elijah Higgins that same year. Cut two of them. They had four, and he cut two of them. Do you remember that year?
Yeah, but Ryan Hayes has been back like 3 times.
I know.
And Elijah Higgins got picked up and claimed by Arizona, but that was because he had Julian Hill. Julian Hill. Okay. Come on, Chris Greer don't cut draft picks. It rarely ever happens.
Yeah, but I mean, not a ton of teams cut draft picks. If you want to be honest about it, look around the league. It's not just Chris Greer.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress.
Yes. One thing we saw today was Cam Smith was running, and he looks a couple weeks away. I am predicting.
Did he?
Yeah, he had a noticeable gait to his run, to his jog. I am predicting right now Cam Smith will either begin the season on the IR, stashed, or he will be waived. Do you disagree with this?
I already told you what's going to happen with Cam Smith. It's going to be Cam Smith in a 7th-round pick to some team that thinks it can draw out the potential out of his game for like a 6th-round pick.
I'll just take a 7th.
Take Cam Smith in the 7th for a 7th? Man.
No, I would just here's the thing. And understand, I'm not beating up Cam Smith. I don't want to do a podcast about Cam Smith. I don't even think Dolphin fans need to talk about Cam Smith. That ship has sailed. We are at the point now where everybody who gets here immediately jumps ahead of Cam Smith on the depth chart. And I will say this. I think we both know and watched, he knew how to play as a rookie.
Yes.
He got beat by a double move in the Jacksonville exhibition game, and Vic Fangio kicked him like a bad dog for a while. It impacted him mentally. Maybe he wasn't doing what he needed to do on his practice squad work. He never played. Ethan Bonner played ahead of him. Last year, injuries, played, struggled, and got injured again, disappeared. Now we're at a point where when he was healthy, he kept getting leapfrogged on the depth chart. And I can't say that his play did or didn't justify whether he was consistently leapfrogged. Do you think that there is hope in Cam Smith? Or are you ready to pull the plug?
You know what troubled me the most? I think I mentioned this a couple of their beat guys as I kept watching him. Even I think it may have started in the offseason and in early training camps. The body language, my Lord, he looked like somebody who was like, okay, when is this over with?
Yeah.
And again, maybe I'm completely wrong.
I don't think you are.
Wouldn't be the first. Yeah, but the body language just says like I'm not that invested in it, and that to me like that's bad. I think maybe it's one of those guys who I think he's as done with the Dolphins as they are done with him, yeah. and maybe this is it's one of those that imagine how well that's going to play with the fans if they wound up dumping him. He goes to another team and the light comes on.
Yeah,
and he becomes a good player.
I think this environment is not good for everybody in South Florida. It's not a good environment for everybody. And we've heard about immaturity and study habits and late practices and blah, blah, blah. Not saying that that's still continuing to go on right now,
right.
But I am of the opinion, and Noah Abenagani's career is a testimony to this, that sometimes a guy needs a fresh start. Yep. Sometimes they just need to move on. There's too much damage done, too much old wounds, too many scars. I don't know if Cam Smith can play or not. I can honestly tell you, I have absolutely no idea. But I know
we thought he could when we saw him early in his rookie camp.
Yeah, and then what happened?
Well, yeah, then it went south, and it went south bad and quickly.
Yeah, I have learned from my experience, sometimes guys just need to move on, and sometimes the team just need to move on. And I'm at that point with Cam Smith. It's not healthy for anybody. Find him a home via trade or release him, let somebody else claim him. I am of the opinion right now that they're good. They'd rather invest in BJ Adams than Cam Smith at this point. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out when the 53-man roster. The one thing I would like to say is to Cam Smith, if you are a Cam Smith fan, family member, coach, whatever, do not rush yourself onto the field just because you feel pressure to put something on film for them. If you're not playing at 100%, you're going to be hurting yourself. You put bad film out there, there's bad film out there. Get healthy, whether it means you start on IR or they release you injured. Get healthy, get your mind right, then try to rebuild your career, because right now it does not seem like you have a future here. I wanted to ask you a couple of things because I'm going over my training camp battles, and as you know, there are no training camp battles here. It's one of my biggest gripe about the Mike McDaniels era, which includes 4 training camps where we've had maybe 5 position battles ever.
For starting jobs. I think there are battles for the back end of the roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For not starting jobs, prominent jobs, roles, yes, there are battles for the back end of the roster. But how many years have we been here where there's never any movement on the depth chart unless there's injury? The depth chart you start with is the depth chart you end with.
And, when we say depth chart, we're talking about the reps. We're not necessarily talking what's put out there on the official depth chart before the first preseason game.
Yeah. I mean, when I can name you the position battles that we've had here, and I can name them all, including including Skyler and Mike White last year. That was probably the only position battle during training camp. And realistically, I think we guilted Mike into it because Mike White was taking all of the reps, and then we're like, why is Skyler not getting any opportunity? Then next thing we know, it's flipped.
And he wanted to make, and the decision in the end was wrong, in my very humble opinion.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
But you didn't see Skyler beat
I was on record as saying that Skylar Thompson was the least egregious of the 2 in training camp because he wasn't good either.
He wasn't good either, but he was better than Mike White.
Or he was less bad.
Okay, he was less bad. That's fair.
I think he also was put, as I recall. See, now that I remember, that he wasn't put in as many bad positions as Mike White was. And to me, it was like, okay, I think Mike White has a little bit longer body of work in the regular season from his time with the Jets, which is not exactly an easy proposition when you're giving me this.
No, nothing to write home about. Even though he did beat out the guy who is the number 2 quarterback here now.
If you look at his starts, I think it's like 5 starts for the Jets. And again, since you have been known once or twice to say the quarterback in Miami needs a good offensive line, well, let's be fair and apply the same standard.
They had the worst offensive line.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you. And in 2 of those, I don't know how many starts, Mike White had some really good production. So to me, it was like, yeah, he looked like crap in the training camp. Skylar Thompson looked slightly better. Why would you not go with a guy who I think has more upside in a regular season setting, who has shown you a little bit more in a regular season setting? And I was on record on the All Dolphins podcast as saying he should have gone with Mike White.
Okay.
Before we saw Skyler.
I watched Skyler beat out Mike White, so I and I'm about competition, which rarely ever happens here.
But it's got to be apples to apples comparisons, and to me, it looked to me
that he was Mike White was set up.
Kind of, sort of. And mind you, there was a salary cap consideration also. I think what they say, like $4 million by dumping him.
Yes. So yeah, you're right. He was set up. He was put in some bad, unfavorable situations. And we saw how that. I don't think the season would have played out anyway, any differently if Mike White was here. But let me get to
maybe Mike White would have lit it up in week 3 at Seattle, and the Dolphins had been smooth sailing while Tua was on out. We don't know. We just don't know.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Let's get to the point. I want to address some of these perceived battles, and I want to get your take on who is the winner, not based on stature, not based on contract, but based on performance. Let's start with the backup QB spot, Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers. We know what Mike says. There is no battle. Zach is the number 2. My question to you is, should there be a battle?
No. And here's the thing also, is you can't go strictly by what you're seeing in training camp right now, because as Allen Iverson once said, we're out here talking about practice. Okay. That was, I don't know how good my impression was.
You just wanted to do that. You did.
No, I like that. I like that.
What about if Ewers starts lightening it up in the exhibition season?
He would have to be like lights out, and Zach Wilson would have to be, to borrow a phrase from you, massively booty cheeks. Because right now, I think there's this perception that Quinn Ewers has outplayed Zach Wilson in training camp.
Yes.
No. Okay, go. Thank you, because he hasn't.
But the point that I'm making is, if it's even, who does the tie go to?
I know you go with the rookie because you want to see the development. I go with the veteran because he has a body of work upon which he can rely on. But he can rely when he gets thrown into the game, where what he's seeing from defenses, from NFL defenses, is not going to be the first time in a regular season setting, whereas everything's going to be new for Quinn Ewers.
All right. Let's get to the number 2 battle, in my opinion, which is Mike Hilton versus Cornell Armstrong. I don't know how much of a battle it is, because this is kind of deceptive to me. Mike Hilton has a great body of work, an established resume, one of the most physical nickel cornerbacks, grizzled veteran, but he's backing up Cornell Armstrong. Explain this to me.
He's first on the depth chart.
That is true, but what do your eyes tell you?
They're working him judiciously. They already know what Mike Hilton is and what Mike Hilton can do. To me, that there's zero battle there. And I know you like Cornell Armstrong. I'd like him to.
No. But shouldn't they be working Mike Hilton to get chemistry with Minkah Fitzpatrick and the starting safety and the corner? Shouldn't they be working on communication? Shouldn't they be working on passing things off? You think I'm
passing things off? Generally speaking, Mike Hilton is going to be okay. Either he's covering the guy in the receiver in the slot, or he's blitzing. Doesn't require a whole lot of communication with his teammates. I think it's a little more significant with the safeties. I hear what you're saying.
But you think this is my imagination? You don't think this could be, we're going to cut the veteran week 1 and bring him back week 2?
I would be.
So we don't have to pay the guaranteed contract.
What did they sign him for? I know the contract
still hasn't been reported.
I know, but do we honestly think it's big money?
But it's the commitment. Do we want to go week by week, or it really doesn't matter, because Cornell Armstrong is an established veteran. He would be signed to the 53 all season as well. So I really don't understand. I'm being honest. I don't understand what I'm looking at. And
I don't know. I don't think Mike Hilton's salary is significant enough that they would play the game of cut him and bring him back, because again, Mike Hilton has to be on board with that, because he might just say,
because he's a veteran. He doesn't have to go to claims. He can get picked up by whoever he wants.
Correct. Yeah. And if he finds out, you don't want to guarantee my whatever it is, $3 million or what, and he might just say, okay, see ya. Yeah. Or do it, and then I'll decide if I want to come back.
Yeah. I'm not making this a competition. I know who should win it. Mike Hilton should win it. I'm just telling you what my eyes show me.
Or it could be that maybe they're trying to see if there's
Cornell
a reason they need to keep nickel. Cornell Armstrong.
Yeah, Cornell can develop as a nickel. It's very interesting. I don't know if I'm making too much of it. I probably am. Julian Hill versus Pharaoh Brown for the inline job.
Ooh,
battle, not battle.
That's a battle. I think that's a battle. And I know the Dolphins love them some Julian Hill.
They do.
But I've watched Pharaoh Brown do some good job in blocking and blitz pickup. And he's also hasn't had drops in practice like Julian Hill has.
He don't get balls either.
No, he's got a couple. He got a couple. How many passes has Julian Hill caught?
He generally, yeah. Okay, they're about both a couple.
Okay, except like I said, I've seen Julian Hill drop, I think, 2 passes. I haven't seen Pharaoh drop one yet.
Okay, interesting. I think we'll be riding both of them until Darren Waller gets off the PUP. Now, here's the most interesting one, which is I don't think it's much of a battle. Tyrell Dodson versus Willie Gay Jr. for that inside linebacker role. Battle, no battle.
Should be a battle. I don't think there is. I think what they're going to do is I think they're going to rotate their off the ball linebackers quite a bit. I think Jordan Brooks is going to dominate the snaps, but I think among the other 3, I think you could see pretty good balance would be my guess. And Willie Gay has to show pretty much all of the plays he's made has been in coverage.
Coverage and blitzing.
Blitzing, correct.
He has to show he can be a run stopper.
Yes. Or at the very least not be a liability against the run.
Absolutely. And I hear that's the issue with his game. So I'm curious to see how he's going to play in the exhibition season. But man, does that guy make plays?
I know you want him to get an orange jersey, don't you?
Yeah, my orange jersey. I'm done. I'm done expecting. I will say this: Malik Washington getting an orange jersey for making the best play of practice Tuesday. That I will applaud. Finally, the orange jersey isn't a fraud.
Okay, hold on.
I know you're here. We go with your logic.
Yeah. Because this bothers me. Okay, he made the longest play of practice on Tuesday. Okay.
Catch.
I don't know that it was. Sorry.
He's had a solid camp, kind of.
It's been all right. It was very quiet early on, and lately he's come on. I don't know that it was the best play of practice, the longest play of practice, and I'm also very bothered by giving the again because it's not based. I think we know it's not based on pure practice performance, but there was also a pass in the end zone that I recall vividly from Tuesday. That was a low throw that he failed to come up with, and that's as you're somebody who says you touch the ball, you should catch it. Well, that was even more than touching the ball. That ball was there, and he failed to come up with it. And that to me, that I don't want to say negates the long touchdown, but to me, it should have eliminated the orange jersey.
That long touchdown was the best play of training camp. It was not?
Minkah Fitzpatrick was the best play of training camp.
Are you talking about the first interception? Not
the
second.
Yeah.
Because the second one was PI, by the way. Was defensive holding.
Which one? The one at the goal line against Tua.
You will acknowledge that was defensive holding, correct?
It might have been called.
Okay. I will argue to you Malik Washington because he outran the safety too. I'm going to give it to Malik Washington, even though that Minkah Fitzpatrick interception was pretty damn impressive. I'm not even going to not going to say it wasn't.
And okay, you're going to go there. Wasn't even the best play of practice. Was it? No, may have been Wednesday. There was a better play. Zach Wilson rolling to his left, throwing on the move a dart to Eric Ezukama, who had to dive to make the catch and made the catch. That was a better play than just.
Was it touchdown? No.
What difference does it make? It was like
touchdowns matter, baby.
35-yard gain.
7 points.
Dude, it was more impressive than Malik Washington beating.
I've seen Quinn Ewers do a rollout pass to Tanner Connor. That's been impressive. If it don't add up to the 7, not giving you top play. Not giving you top play honors. I'm sorry. It's got to result in the 7. Let me finish off my battles. Jaylen Wright versus Alexander Mattison for Devon Achane backup. Battle, no battle.
Should be a battle, absolutely. And I'm on record, and I've said this, and I got killed in comments on my podcast because I'm a hater. Because apparently they decided that I said that Jaylen Wright's going to have a sucky season because I said, and I'm going to say it again, I am not seeing anything right now from him that really impresses me that suggests he's in for a breakout second season. I just don't see it.
I agree with you. I don't see it either. And I don't want to be classified as a hater. We haven't seen
too late for that, buddy.
We have not seen any tackling. People aren't being taken to the ground. He's not working usually with a good offensive line because I'm on record. The second offensive line is booty cheeks. So is the third. However, Alexander Mattison makes the second and third offensive line look good. So it can't be the line. It's either the line or the backs, one of the two. So you're not alone. Jaylen Wright, I see the talk. I don't see the play. So you are not alone. I second your opinion. Number 4 receiver, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine or D. Eskridge?
That's under the
battle,
assumption.
no battle.
That's under the assumption Malik's number 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine or D. Eskridge. No, that's definitely a battle, and it's definitely a battle. And then you could include Taj Washington. That's looked very good to me. I think he's a long shot because he's a rookie free agent and he's got other people to beat. I love Theo Weiss Jr. Sorry.
No. I understand where you come from. I like him too. He has really made Quinn Ewers look quite good.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the year the streak ends where no undrafted rookie makes this team. And if there is one that does make the team, it's Theo Weiss. Okay. Like, I don't see any undrafted rookies that are impressive.
I think you and I both know that all things being equal, they're going to go with NWI.
Absolutely. He's got $3.2 million in guaranteed money. You will pay him.
Yeah.
So, yes.
But I don't see great separation between. But again, like I said, to me, it's like the gulf between, even as much as we can like Malik Washington, to me, he's a nice receiver. And when you got 2 complete studs, and there's a big gulf. And I understand most teams have that kind of gap. It's not unique to the Dolphins.
Yeah. Let's go to backup offensive lineman for that final offensive line spot. Keon Smith, Daniel Brunskill.
Waiver wire.
Damn.
Between those two, between those two, there's not a battle in my eyes. It's Keon Smith.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
But what if Aaron Myers begins season on IR?
Andrew, you mean?
Andrew, yeah.
Then
you need Brunskill.
And you're assuming that's assuming Liam's not ready, correct?
I don't know. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens. That is one of the battles that I'm monitoring closely, but I don't disagree with you. Waiver wire might be the play. Backup defensive tackle. Here we go. Jordan Phillips versus Matt Dickerson.
Not close right now for me. Not close.
Who is it?
Oh, it's Matt Dickerson. Not even close. But again, we haven't been in pads for that long. We haven't had the joint practices. We haven't had the preseason. Maybe that's
why he's being tackled to the ground. Yes.
Maybe that's where Jordan Phillips's work really will start to shine. But from what we've seen so far, to me, Matt Dickerson has been easily the best. The best non-Zach Sealer
defensive lineman. You putting him ahead of Kenneth Grant too?
Yes.
Damn. I didn't think about that, but I'm not going to argue against it. All right. Let me get you the final 2. Last edge rusher. Cameron Good, Grayson Murphy.
You and I have had this discussion before. We have.
I know you're a Grayson Murphy fan.
Grayson Murphy is a better pass rusher. Cameron Good's a better all-around player, and he can play and is a special teams guy. So,
you going with Cameron Good?
Cameron Good's going to wind up making it over him. Yes.
I didn't ask you that. Are you going with Cameron Good?
Yes.
Okay. I am going with Grayson Murphy because I have the fear of one day looking up, hey, wasn't that guy on the Dolphins roster at some point? I mean, it's a small fear, but it's a fear.
Can we see him get sacks against?
Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to be polite here. Higher level offensive lineman, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll continue this conversation during the exhibition season.
Okay.
And the final one, Last safety on the 53. Patrick McMorris, Dante Trader Jr.
I think I go with Dante Trader Jr., and I think that's the way they're going to go.
Because of what? Draft status? Both are draftees.
I understand that. If it comes down to those two, we're assuming Mink obviously makes the team. Elijah Campbell's going to make the team. We're assuming if he's going to make the team, that's 3. Ashton Davis, if he doesn't start
he's going to begin the year on IR, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I absolutely could see that. Yeah, I mean, Dante Trader Jr. I think came into this with a different skill set than McMorris with physicality, and I think I don't know. I don't have a strong. Actually, I don't know.
You'll wait for the exhibition season to see who actually makes plays.
But I think Dante Trader Jr.
The fact he's known as a special teams core contributor, even though we haven't seen it yet because he's battling an injury, that'll make it interesting to see what happens. On that note, this has been it for the Dolphins in depth. We've got the joint practice tomorrow. Looking forward to giving you folks a recap of what happened in the first time we actually see the Dolphins against another opponent. On that note, we are out. You've been enjoying Alain Poupart. We'll tell them where they can find your work, Alain.
DolphinsOnSI.com for the written content. The podcast is the All Dolphins Podcast. All
Dolphins Podcast, which I will be joining tomorrow to give you the perspective of the two people who watch practice. Alain has got to take one unit. Have you decided which unit you want? Have you submitted your proposal?
I think I might be more curious about the Dolphins defense.
Oh, really? Because I'm more curious about the Dolphins offense. So that fits out perfectly.
Works out great.
It works out great. All right. On that note, we are out and we will see you tomorrow.